tuning in to another Sunday's Food for Thoughts. So today, this topic is going to be don't fall for the representative. Hopefully I don't have to explain to you what a representative is. I think we all have one. So we're going to go into 5 ways to see past the representative. And I kind of touched on this when I did like a live audio on Wednesday, I think it was. Just giving a couple different ways to avoid that representative. Because as I said in my previous video, a representative will get you messed up. Moving right along, 5 ways to see past the representative. First things first, with any relationship that you're starting, remove emotion out of it just in the beginning stages. Because if you put emotion into things, it doesn't allow you to see 2020. Okay. First things first, watch person's actions, how they move. If they're being consistent. I don't know if any of you, and I'm sure, I'm not gonna say I don't know, but I'm sure that some of you have experienced this where you are dating someone and everything is going good for the first, I don't know, month or so, and then all of a sudden things change. Whether it be, them not consistent with their text messages or calls or dates, making up excuses, that is considered an action. So you want to watch how people move. Another example that I've came across with dating is, a lot of us over 30 has at least one or multiple kids. And I've noticed that some of the men will say, I have kids and, I spend time with them, but, we're talking for, I don't know, maybe a month, and I haven't heard this person mention anything about them spending time with their kids. And a lot of us kind of look past that because, part of it is being, selfish, we're worried about what's going to please us and not taking in consideration, like, why is this man haven't mentioned anything about his kids or spending time with them? He's always available. That is definitely something to look out for as far as an action goes. And next thing that I had mentioned was avoid falling for potential. And what I mean by that is you meet someone and they tell you, what their plans are. Now, let me back up just a little bit. First of all, I'm sure everybody has their set requirements, and I'm going to go further into that later on in this video. In the event, if someone is telling you what they're planning on doing and it's not really meeting what your expectations are in that moment, you may be wasting your time. And that's what I mean by avoid falling for potential, not going by what a person is planning on doing. Furthermore, I'm a firm believer if they are not in the position that you're needing them to be to meet your requirements, then you wasting your time. Not saying that you can't help or grow with that person, build with that person, but it's certain things, and you guys kind of know what I'm talking about, that you just have to have in order to date someone or be in a relationship. So if they're not meeting that, don't waste your time with that. And I see a lot of my friends, and I've heard things from a lot of other women that they go through these things in dating, especially if you are single and at a certain age. Another way, we have to look past the surface. What I mean by surface is looks. What kind of car they drive. Those things automatically you're going to be attracted to because that's what you first see. But in order to get through past the representative, we need to look past the surface. Not saying that you got to get with someone that doesn't meet your, requirements as far as looks goes, but don't necessarily always focus on looks. So you don't want to be in a situation where what they're showing you in the beginning, you're just going for, because I've had situations plenty of times where the person I felt like had a nice car, they were, looked good. I was very attracted to them. And, that car is something that they got when they had money, and now their financial situation is different. So you don't want to take that out of context or for surface value. Don't ignore the red flags. If something is not setting right with you, then keep it pushing or address that. Make that a priority. Don't just look past it. So again, don't ignore those red flags. If something doesn't sit right with you, address it. And a lot of times we kind of look past that because we don't want to cause a rift when you first meet someone. I'm here to tell you, make that clear, address it, address it, address it. Another thing is when someone becomes inconsistent. So, you know, you're meeting somebody, everything is vibing, you guys are dating, you know, everything is going good, and then all of a sudden, you know, the consistency stops. So if you use this person texting you every morning or throughout the day, or you guys have set times where you go on dates or whatever the case may be, when that stops. Now, granted, you know, people have emergencies, things come up, but when it starts to be excuse after excuse after excuse and they become inconsistent, that is a red flag. Bring that shit up. Excuse me for cursing because I know my mom gonna see this later. And I'm a firm believer in when someone shows you who they are, you believe them. And like I said, these are some of the things that we look past when we're dating or in a relationship with someone. If this person that you've been dealing with or dating or whatever, you know, they show you a different side after so long, and it could be years later, who knows? And I'll get more into that a little later. If they show you a certain thing that you're not comfortable with or that rubs you the wrong way, you'll believe that. Because they didn't just get this personality trait or characteristic from out of the sky or anywhere. Which leads me to my next point. Be upfront. Again, that goes back to what I said, you know, address those things. At worst case scenario, this person gets mad and they don't ever want to talk to you again. And if that's the case, then that wasn't the man or woman for you, period. Say what your expectations are in the beginning. I don't want it to be a situation where it's an adult responsibility, because those should not be in your list of requirements, meaning that this person should have to have a car, they should have their own place, they should have to have a job. That is something, especially if you're over 30, that you should come with fresh out the gate. It should never be a situation where you don't have that. Now, granted, life happens, people go through financial hard times or whatever, but as a requirement, and I'm speaking this for myself, like it's certain things that I just won't accept. And those adult responsibilities is not even a thought. That's just something that just comes natural. You should already be established at a certain age. Again, if life happens, life happens. But if that is the case and you don't have those adult responsibilities that you should already have, then you probably shouldn't be dating in the first place. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. Be more specific when you are stating what, you know, your requirements are for someone to date you. Pass all the adult responsibilities, but be more specific as far as, perfect example, you require respect, you know, loyalty. How are you going to make me feel? Are you going to make me feel like a woman? Or are you going to make me feel like a man? Be more specific. Don't just go by the basics, because that should already be established. A lot of us will not really get into that person's history. When we are initially dating, we may ask those upfront questions that consist of, you know, what do you do for a living? You know, where do you live at? How many kids you got? You know, that kind of stuff. And we don't really ask the history. And I go into detective mode when I'm dating now, because you don't know what you're going to get. You know, I want to know, how's your mom? You know, what are your morals and values? What's your family like? How was you raised? You know, those are important questions to know someone's history, because then you can have an understanding for, you know, some of the things that they do or how they move. But we kind of look past that and we don't get that far. You know, during this representative stage, we tend to become intimate before we even got out of that stage. And that's another problem too. Now, however long that representative stage lasts is however long you're around the person. It could be a couple months, it could be years, but we tend to jump into intimacy or have sex with someone before we get out of that stage. And now we are attracted to the representative. We done fell for the representative. And I'm kind of jumping ahead of what I'm going to get into. But that to me is a big issue because we're moving too fast. Going into point number 6, and I know I had mentioned in the live last week that it was only going to be 5, but it was something else that I was just thinking about. The flip side of things. What happens when you are dealing with someone who has unconscious intentions? Excuse me. And what I mean by unconscious intentions is, you know, most people know right from wrong. By the time you get to a certain age, you learn right from wrong. So it's not that they don't recognize that it's wrong, but it's because they've become accustomed to how they're moving, or they normalize it. So that makes it an unconscious intention. All right, so back to what I was saying, unconscious intention, meaning that it's not something that is planned. It's more so just because this is what they're used to. That not saying that that person gets a pass, because at the end of the day, you know right from wrong, but that's just saying that there are people out there that think that it's normal. So the last thing I said was about unconscious intention. So a lot of us, you know, we already know right from wrong, but what about the people that have normalized bad behavior or normalized being, you know, the representative? And I wasn't giving those people a pass for their behavior, but when you are used to moving a certain way, then you're going to automatically think that it's normal. So what about the people that, you know, you meet a guy and he has normalized being inconsistent, or starting off being consistent and then becomes inconsistent? A lot of times that has to do with previous behavior. We as women, you know, they're only going to do what we allow them to do. So if his past track record has been able to move a certain way, and then he meets someone that's not putting up with it, it becomes a situation where he may feel like, you know, it's too much work and I'm not trying to do all that, especially when other women before that he's dealt with has made it easy. Another thing on the flip side that I had thought about was what happens when you have a representative that lasts for years. Meaning that you have been in a relationship with this person for a number of years and they're inconsistent, but they do just enough to stick around. In that case, with you being with that person, I can guarantee it's probably a situation where, like I said before, they're not always around. They're only available when they're able to shine in their representative. And then it ends up being a situation where you've dated this person on and off, or y'all are together for years, whether it be you live with that person or, you know, they have their own place and they're just coming to see you. It's not something that is consistent. So you're not around them enough to break through to the real person. So you're always going to have that representative. And then we kind of get hung up as women dealing with someone like that, because again, they give you just enough to stay around. So moving right along, what are the common mistakes when we fall for the representative? At this point, you done met the person, y'all dating, y'all in a relationship, and you fall in love with this representative. What happens? What are those common mistakes when we do that and then realize later on when the real person comes out? So going back to what I was saying earlier about how we rush in being okay with the way they treat you. And again, I'm a firm believer that you teach people how to treat you. So if you're okay with the behavior, then that's what you're going to get. Going back to what I was saying a couple minutes ago, how we jump into sex with someone during a representative phase. And we all grown, so, you know, you do what you want to do as far as time frame or whatever it is. But we jump into that too soon, to where now we've wrapped up ourselves with the representative, and then when the real person comes out, it's hard for us to let go of that because we're still chasing the representative. We're chasing who we originally fell for, and that's not really the case. This way the whole time, and now all of a sudden you have an issue with it. Address that shit up front. I'm telling you. So yeah, going back to being intimate during the representative phase, like I said, you end up chasing how that person made you feel in the beginning, and that's initially not the real person. When it comes to dealing with, men, a man is going to be, where he wants to be, regardless. So that means that if he prefers to be, with his friends or wherever he chooses to be, that's where he's going to be. You are a priority. You know what I mean? If that person's not making you a priority, or they stop doing what they initially did in the beginning, they're at where they want to be at. So I would suggest not to waste time on that. I don't want to see anybody waste their time or be hurt dealing with, a representative. And I'm sure that for the women and men that are on here, that you guys have had situations like that. Some people are in marriages and still dealing with a representative. But at the end of the day, he gonna be where he want to be. So let him go. Let him go. A sure way to figure out if this person is rocking with you or they are interested in you, don't put no boundaries on what they do. You let them do whatever it is that they want to do. Set no boundaries. And then see what happens. If this person is consistent with you and they're still trying to pursue you, then that person is 9 out of 10 is interested in you. But if they out doing whatever with whoever and don't have no time for you and making excuses and things like that, then that's where that person wants to be. Leave that alone. It's so many women, especially in my age group, in their 30s, that are single and dating and still chasing after this and allowing that representative to take over. And my thought process is, why put yourself through that? You are worth more than that. You shouldn't have to force someone to be around you. You shouldn't have to beg for someone's attention. That's something that should come, naturally. They should want to be around you. And that's how you know when someone genuinely cares and is interested, because the consistency is there. They want to be around you. They put you as a priority. Trust and believe, from what I've been taught, and from what I've been through, if a man is truly interested in you, he's going to put you before his damn mama. And that's just the reality of it. You shaking your head, son. What? That's facts. That's facts? Mm-hmm. All right. So, again, my son's sitting here 14, like, that's facts. So, you better not put nobody ahead of me, out of your mama. No, I'm just joking. I'm just playing. Yeah, so they will make you a priority. So those are some of the things that, we need to kind of watch out for when you're dealing with the representative. I feel like, again, a lot of times we put too much emotion into it in the beginning and not thinking logically about it. And that's why I said when I first started the video, before you get into the representative, you need to remove all emotions. Hey, Ruthie, remove all of that emotion out from jump, because there's no way you're going to be able to see through to that person and see if they, quote unquote, on bullshit until you remove that emotion. And a lot of people that know me, a lot of my family, cousins, they know that I may be a little bit cutthroat when it comes to men, but it's just certain things that I just don't tolerate. And I feel like I'm not going to put myself in a situation that I'm not going to be happy, because there's always somebody out there for everybody. No matter who you are, what your characteristic traits are, it's somebody out there for everybody. So I'm not going to settle for less than I know that I'm worth. And I always say that to, my friends and family that I talk to about their relationships. Like, don't settle for less. Put yourself first. It's not selfish to want to put yourself first. You said listen to your mom. But yeah, off topic really quick. Did anybody watch, I don't know if you guys watch OWN. They had a show on earlier today that I kind of watched a little bit of, and it was talking about the angry black woman. Why are we so angry? Do we have a right to be angry? And I thought that was an interesting show. And I think that next week I want to kind of dive a little bit into that, just because it's a lot of stereotypes. Same thing with ox sauce. Shout out to that. We are working very hard to fulfill the amount of orders that we have coming in, which is very surprising. So If you feel the need that you need a order of ox sauce, please hit my inbox. Again, we're working on his website, trying to get that up and running. So hopefully we can make this, a household name. But I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Yes, Miss Lee, get you some sauce. Get you some sauce. Definitely, I'll be posting what we have probably sometime tomorrow or Tuesday. Like I said, we're taking orders. Delivery would be, what do you say? You want Friday?
Yeah.
Friday for delivery.
Every Friday.
We'll make it every Friday for delivery. So if you place an order, I'll take orders for Friday up through Wednesday, just so it can give us some time to get everything together. And we'll get it delivered to you on Friday, or we can meet up, or I can ship it. Either way.
Depending on how many bottles you order, we can do last second bottles.
What you mean?
How many, like, because you said until Wednesday, right? That's when we cutting our orders off.
For that's Friday.
Yeah. Okay. So depending on how many bottles they want, we can do like last minute stock up just for them.
Okay. So you hear that? My son said that he's willing to do last minute orders. So if you guys don't get your orders in by Wednesday, if you hit me up, Thursday or Friday morning, we may be able to work something out where you have it delivered on that Friday. So just let me know. Hit my inbox. Again, please check out our YouTube page. It is new, so of course it's not a lot on there. Please like, subscribe, share. I will be uploading this video tomorrow. Is that right? Tomorrow? Tomorrow, once we go through and edit. So check that out. Let me know. Hit my inbox if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, whatever. But I want to thank you again for joining in on this live for Sunday's Food for Thought. Seeing past the representative. You guys have an awesome Sunday, an awesome work week. And I love you guys, and we out.